I'm listening to a lot of audiobooks at the moment because in looking after my son during the day, I don't always have the time to read. So an audiobook in the background, and even sometimes before bed as well, is just a nice little distraction that kind of feeds into a lot of other things that I like. And I picked up an audiobook on Audible recently called Watching Neighbours Twice a Day. How 90s TV almost, in brackets, prepared me for life. It's by British comedian Josh Widdicombe, and it's basically part bio, part let's talk about 90s television, because I feel that Josh is one of the first comedians I can remember that was actually talking to me, right? He was one of the first comedians that was talking about Mario Kart and the Kellogg's Variety Pack and the Trundle Wheel. Very highly recommended his first few stand-up. In fact, all of his stand-up stuff is very highly recommended. There's a lot of 90s and 2000s references in there. And this book, Watching Neighbours Twice a Day, is a continuation of that. There's lots of things in there, some of which I had forgotten about. Others, I wouldn't have been familiar with, such as El Dorado. I have lots of memories of 90s television. He manages to nail it based on what I remember and what you hear, right? And with him growing up in a part of Devon, a little bit more secluded than most people, I think, he has a really interesting point of view. And one thing I found as well, I'm listening to this book with my wife, and she often will hear bits and she'll go, yeah, that's exactly, and I won't have a clue what Josh is talking about. So, different bits appeal to different people. Obviously, there's a few sections in there on Neighbours. I was never much of a Neighbours watcher, but I get the gist, right? It's all very well observed, very funny, and comes extremely recommended in book or audio form. Although in the audio book, at the end of each chapter, he's got interviews, very short ones, with people involved in what he's talking about. So, for example, he mentions like Funhouse and things like that, and then talks to Pat Sharp. So that's a little bonus, if you like, little podcasts at the end of each larger chapter, which is a nice touch, actually. And I think he must have written it in lockdown last year. Well done, Josh. Do pick it up, as I say, in hardback. I'm sure paperback will come soon enough if it isn't already. It's already, according to Waterstones, the Sunday Times bestseller. Well done. And of course, it's available in that audiobook, which you can get, actually, if you're on Audible, you can get a little, you can sign up and get a credit, right? So you could use it on that. Or I think if you remember now, it's like $7.99 for an audiobook, which is not too bad. I want to say it's like 7 or 8 hours long, so you're definitely getting your value there. One thing I'd like to ask here is, what are your memories of 90s television? And I'm not talking to Josh here, I'm talking to you. What are your memories? Josh talks a lot about certain things. He is a huge Simpsons fan, which I wasn't aware of. I'm also a huge Simpsons fan. I find ways of getting it into the conversation whenever I can. There's always a quote, right? There's always a Simpsons quote attached. There's lots of things like that. I also enjoyed his section on Euro 96 as well. All very well observed and certainly matching the mood and tying it in with recent events and stuff. So what is your memory of 90s television? I was surprised that he hasn't, as far as I can tell yet, I'm about maybe 3/4 of the way through, he hasn't covered Emmerdale yet, which I didn't really watch back in the day, but now, big fan, right, of the classics from sort of 96 backwards, you know? So yeah, he mentions Noel's house party as well with Mr. Blobby. I loved Mr. Blobby. It was a cute character back in the day. I'm sure Haley and I have covered that in some detail in the past. So yeah, that is Watching Neighbours Twice a Day, How 90s TV Almost Prepared Me for Life by Josh Widdicombe. It's available everywhere. Go check it out.